Hi, I'm Anna Denton-Jones of Refreshing Law Limited, and I want to address today a specific issue around what we can tell colleagues when somebody is absent from work through ill health. Now, health-related data under the GDPR data protection legislation is a special category of data. In old money, we called it sensitive personal data. So anything to do with somebody's health has that extra layer of protection through the legislation. And the legislation is pretty clear that ordinarily we shouldn't be processing that health-related data unless there's a specific pathway through the legislation. So, for example, if you've got the explicit consent of the employee to tell their colleagues something, then that's going to be okay. So if you've got an email from an employee saying, I give you permission to tell my colleagues that I'm having a back operation and I won't be back for a few weeks, then that's going to be a safe thing to do because you've got that safe pathway through the legislation. There are exemptions for circumstances where, as an employer, you need to be processing the data in order to, for example, carry out the contract of employment with the person. So that puts you in safe territory when you're, paying the person's sick pay. But what it doesn't do, you haven't really got a legal reason that you need under the performance of the contract to tell colleagues that somebody's got a particular health condition or that they're absent through ill health. So that really does narrow down the circumstances if we haven't got explicit consent from the employee, in which we can be talking to a colleague about the reason why somebody is absent. The other issue I think to think about is that this is the sort of issue of which grievances are made. An employee finds out that their colleagues have been told something about why they're off, or even the fact that they've got a medical condition, and that upsets them, and we end up with a grievance as a result. It's also the sort of thing that can be one of the steps along the way to perhaps a relationship breaking down between an employee and an employer. I often will get individuals who've been off for a period of time, hearing rumours, little snippets of things that have been discussed about them in the workplace and that have made their way back to them. And there might be a bit of Chinese whispers involved in that process. And it's those sorts of things that can get blown out of proportion and can really upset people. So why would we be telling any colleagues anything about somebody's health? I think instead we need to be talking to colleagues about the fact that somebody is not in work, so they're not here, and that's why perhaps you're taking over their workload, for example. So you're going to be on a lot safer territory if you do that, rather than sort of carelessly end up disclosing something. And I think it's reasonable for an individual to say, well, even if you disclose the fact that I'm off sick, that's telling somebody that there is a health problem or a health condition. You might not be telling them, of course, what it is, but it is drawing attention to the fact. So I'd stick to neutral language, I think, from now on. And it's something that you really do need to make sure line managers are aware of, because it's the sort of thing that comes up in team meetings and it's easily disclosed. I hope that makes sense. If you've got any questions, please do email me. It's adenton@refreshinglawltd.co.uk. Thank you very much.